Welcome. May the blessings be. May the light always engender the light, eternally light. Thank you for joining me for today's session. Before we dive down this rabbit hole, I'd like to emphasize that the following is translation as faithful as possible of Master Godson's teachings from French to English. Throughout the translation process, I will adopt the first person perspective of Master Godson. Now, if you're ready, let's dive down this rabbit hole. There's a simple question that we are going to ask ourselves here, right now. What is light? As I always say, an impossible question for a possible response. The ability alone to pose an impossible question actualizes the potential or possibility of that very thing. If you can give yourself the freedom to pose the impossible question, you set in motion within the universe, within the whole, an answer that's possible. So the question is, what is the light? It is a question that one would ask in class. It's a question that one would ask at school, or really in a temple, anywhere. But are you listening to the question? And beyond listening, do you hear the question? In metaphysics, when you're asked what a thing is, you are instead being asked another question underlying the question you believe you were asked. While both are equally important, there's another question that you must hear. That question is to know why the light. It is only in the question of why the light that you will find the answer to what is the light. Most times, when the question of what is the light is asked of people, they always want to define light as something that shines. We can give the example of a bulb that gives off light. During meditation, as well, people hope to see something flashy or blinking so they can say, I see the light. Most of the time, the experience of light in humans is conditioned by their practice of fire and the light that emanates from that fire. They aspire in their internal quests to attain a similar kind of encounter wherein they behold the stars, the radiant sky, the illuminating sun, and anything that gleams with brilliance. Yet this is an error. This is where it is necessary to understand that there is the light and there are equally waves of the light. When people refer to the speed of light, they're essentially describing the velocity at which these light waves travel. It is, in fact, the motion of these light waves that people perceive as the speed of light. It's not light itself, even if we cannot help but to refer to it as light. For example, it's as if we recognize the presence of water in the vast ocean while witnessing the constant movement of its waves. What would you name these waves then? You would refer to the waves as water, right? This is where confusion arises in people's minds. They label both the waves of water as water and the vast ocean as water. Similarly, they designate the waves of light as light, and they also call the light, overlooking the fact that light itself is elusive and undefinable and goes or is beyond its waves of light. Beyond the waves of light, there should be another understanding of the light. It is akin to stating, for instance, that while we acknowledge the waves of water as the integral part of the ocean, we must not forget that there exists both the ocean itself and the waves that comprise it. Now, let's clarify this concept a bit. We will remember that although we may refer to the waves of light as light in a similar manner to the example of the ocean, we must retain that there exists both the light itself and the waves of light. Even though the waves of light are rightfully identified as the light. What we perceive in motion, whether in inner experiences or external experiences, are actually waves of light. They are luminous vibrations characterized by the frequencies in displacement. These luminous frequencies, which are essentially light vibrations, originate from a source that I refer to still as the light or the source of light. However, it is important to note that this source of light may not necessarily be brilliantly luminous. Oh my goodness. It would be a mistake to think that when we speak of light, it is necessarily brilliant. When we refer to light, it does not always imply brilliance. Light itself is not inherently brilliant, but it always remains light. So when we encounter light, that light lacks brilliance, it is indicating that it is something else prior to revealing its wave that we then would describe as light or brilliance. This suggests the existence of other forms of light that may not possess inherent brilliance, but still fall within the realm of light. In this context, the fundamental question arises: what is the true nature of light? What truly defines the light beyond all the hypotheses posed? This is what the art of asking good questions, also known as Kestiology, demands. Why the light? Dear travelers, I'm going to leave it here for this first part of What is the Light? Please don't forget to subscribe. If you enjoyed what you heard here today, kindly hit that notification bell to join us for part two. See you soon. May the light always engender the light, eternally the light.